What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of Giants Undercover with your man, NYG Jeffy T3285. And man, just gonna do a quick recap of what was a fantastic, an amazing, awesome feeling to have if you were a fan of the New York Football Giants. This is a feeling that us Giants fans have not had in a very long time. Just that feeling of just hope, optimism, prosperity, everything that's like an uplifting feeling was given to us after those first couple of picks in the first round. And I'm just going to do a quick recap of what I liked so far, what I thought that was good in the draft, what I thought was a little strange in the draft, and some prospects that the Giants could look at for rounds 2 and 3 going into tonight. So as far as the draft goes so far, I'm still very questionable what the Jaguars are doing. We just had a feeling with all the hype that was going on with Trayvon Walker. Everybody in the back of their mind thought that maybe they would still go with the more sure-handed guy in Aiden Hutchinson. But the Jaguars ended up taking their shots and going after Trayvon Walker, which is a very risky pick. The guy has incredible upside. If he's able to tap into his full potential with the right coaching around him, Trayvon Walker could be a really good player in this league. But I'm very questionable about it. I don't know if Jacksonville is going to be able to get the most out of him, because there's been a lot of highly touted players that have gone to Jacksonville over the past couple of years that have failed to make an impact in the NFL. So they must be trusting a lot on upside that they're going to be able to use the right coaching to get the most out of him. But the number one pick ended up being Trayvon Walker to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in some ways, I'm a little bit surprised, but not really. I thought that would end up being the case. And then without even hesitation, the Detroit Lions, probably within 5 minutes, maybe not even, maybe a minute later, they ran up to the podium and they brought home their hometown kid, Aiden Hutchinson, is a Detroit Lion, which I think is a very good pick for them. I think he'll do very well in that Dan Campbell defense. So I think that was a very smart pick by the Detroit Lions, being able to go up there and get a very solid defensive end, keep him in the area of Detroit, Michigan. So I thought that was a very smart pick by Detroit getting him. And this is where the draft ended up taking a turn. Immediately, the Texans, we all thought were going to at least go pass rush, maybe go offensive line, maybe even go with safety. But Derek Stingley, after he ran that pro day, started creeping up the boards. Houston Texans started to look at him, thinking maybe this could be a kid that they could use as a lockdown cornerback for the next 5 to 10 years. He started creeping up those boards slowly but surely. And the Texans surprised everybody by taking Derek Stingley Jr. at number 3. That threw off a lot of people, because a lot of people might have thought that this was going to be where the first offensive lineman was going to go. So it was a very interesting pick. He has some injury concerns, but when this kid is right, he is easily the best cornerback in this draft. No questions about it. This kid has a lot of talent. Lockdown cornerback. Some even comparing him to being the next Darrelle Revis. So that's very high praise for this kid. And without hesitation, the New York Jets, they also took a cornerback in the draft, but they could have had defensive end Kayvon Thibodeaux. We're going to get to him a little bit. They could have had one of the other choices, one of the offensive linemen. They could have even taken a chance on Jermaine Johnson. But they go for Ahmed Sauce Gardner, which makes sense in a way too, because if you think about it, the Jets, they need a cornerback. They badly need a cornerback, especially with all these playmakers around the AFC East. The best thing for them to do is get a lockdown cornerback. So they decided, you know what, we're going to get a shutdown cornerback, and we're going to see what we can do. The Jets actually ended up having a really good draft so far. They ended up trading for Jermaine Johnson later in the draft, so they get themselves their pass rusher, and I'll get to number 10 in a little bit. But then to the New York Football Giants, and this is where the real fun started, because the Giants had a major opportunity sitting right in front of their face. They had the best defensive end, arguably in this draft, in Kayvon Thibodeaux, as well as all 3 offensive linemen sitting in front of their face. Evan Neal, Ike Mekwonu, Charles Cross, all sitting there right in front of them with their choice of who to pick. They could have easily gone for the offensive tackle of their choice just in case they thought they might have lost him to Carolina. But instead, the Giants went out there and they took the chance. All the negativity that was going around saying KT is not a right fit for this place. A lot of people question his motor. The Giants weren't interested in this kid. They were going to pass up on him. You know what? The New York Giants just said, forget all that noise. We're not talking about this. We're going to go out there and we're going to get ourselves a stud pass rushing defensive end that we could build this defense around and we could have around and then just unleash him on the quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years. And he's going to be being tutored by one of the all-time greats at defensive end, Michael Strahan. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a New York football Giant. The Giants finally get themselves a impact, Batman-like, big-time, stud, young pass rusher for this defense. And he's going to be somebody that's going to thrive in this defense. He's going to be somebody that's going to have to command the double team. He's going to help out guys like Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Quincy Roche, and the rest of the guys on this Giants defense. This is something that the Giants have needed for years. They've needed an impact pass rushing specialist, and they just got one right now that they could build that defense around. So I thought that was a absolutely terrific pick. Phenomenal, fantastic, any positive word you could think about. The New York Giants were able to get arguably the best player in this draft in Kayvon Thibodeaux. Goes to number 5 to the New York Football Giants. And then the Carolina Panthers at 6. A lot of questions with them. Maybe they were thinking about going quarterback. Maybe they're thinking about trading down. They had all 3 of those offensive tackles sitting on the board for them. They ended up taking one of those tackles in Ike Mekwonu, who I think actually fits them very well for maybe the style of offense that they want to run and Matt Rule wants to run over there in Carolina. So the Panthers end up taking Ike Mekwonu at number 6. And then we're back on the board, back to the New York Giants. And look at this. You got still 2 very good to great offensive tackle prospects sitting on the board. You got Evan Neal, who has been touted as arguably the best offensive tackle prospect in this draft. And you got Charles Cross, who is probably the most pro-ready offensive tackle, the best pass-blocking tackle. The New York Giants ended up going with Evan Neal at number 7, who, he might not be the complete pro-ready yet compared to Charles Cross, but this kid's upside is immense. You're going to slot him in there at right tackle, something that the Giants have not had a good right tackle since Kareem McKenzie and during the Super Bowl years of 2007 to 2011. You have a chance to put that 6'7", 345-pound mauler at the right tackle position where he's going to go out there and just knock down, push around, beat that, not beat up, but you know what I mean. Just knock over any of those defensive linemen in the NFC East and the NFL in general. So you just got yourselves a stud right tackle prospect who could arguably be maybe the best offensive line prospect the New York Giants have ever taken. And they have Andrew Thomas, who's emerging as one of the best left tackles in the NFL on the other side. And now you just got Evan Neal on the right side of the offensive line. So you got yourselves your 2 bookend tackles now in Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal for potentially the next 5 to 10 years. So the Giants, they arguably just won the draft by just those 2 picks for the first round. By you getting Kayvon Thibodeaux on the defensive line and getting Evan Neal on the offensive line. What the New York Giants have needed to do, and that's fix the trenches. And what did they do? They went out there and they got 2 stud prospects for each side of the line. So the Giants, they hit a home run. They hit a grand slam. They hit multiple grand slams with this. And as a Giant fan, every Giants fan right now should be dancing in the streets, singing the happy songs, bringing in the good vibes, feeling the good vibes. This is the best day for a Giants fan we could have. Now, these guys have to show it on the field because on paper it looks great, but they got to go out there and prove it that they can get it done on the field. But, just seeing Kayvon Thibodeaux and his cockiness and his confidence going into this season, this kid's going to be somebody that a lot of fans are going to be getting behind. And Evan Neal, he has that quiet confidence inside of him too. So, Giants, Got two grand slams right here. Two guys that a lot of Giants fans didn't think we had any shot at in a few months ago, and now they're both going to be end up playing in blue. And now the Atlanta Falcons, they made a surprising pick, in my opinion, by going after wide receiver Drake London. That was a little bit of a surprise to me. I did not think that they were going to take Drake London that high, but a lot of people think his upside, some have even compared his upside to maybe a young Plexico Burress with his height. I think his speed is a little bit lacking. I think his ability to create separation is a little bit lacking at times. So I'm questionable about this. But if he's able to tap into his potential, they have him and Kyle Pitts, which is two very, very good weapons for Marcus Mariota moving forward. So the Falcons end up getting their wide receiver. Still probably need a quarterback. So, and number 9, the Seahawks, I think, made the right choice because I think they're going to want to try to give Drew Lock every chance they can. So they ended up taking Charles Cross. So they get themselves their young offensive tackle. Probably going to play on the left side unless they feel that they can bring back Dwayne Brown. Keep him on the left side. Put Charles Cross over on the right side. Get him mentored and ready. So I think that's a very smart pick. You're going to give Drew Lock the best opportunity he can with the playmakers he has, so you better build up that offensive line. So I thought that was a very smart pick. And the New York Jets, like I said before, I thought they had a really good draft too, and they ended up taking Garrett Wilson at number 10. That speedster, great route runner, terrific receiver out of Ohio State. It gives Zach Wilson that number 1 receiver he's needed. It bumps down Corey Davis to the number 2 receiver. Elijah Moore can work out of the slot. So I think it just balances out their wide receiver core a lot more now that you have Garrett Wilson, who's going to go out there and command the double teams. On offense, is going to open things up for the other guys in that offense. So I think the Jets have themselves a nice little collection of playmakers now. And it's really going to show and give the test to Zach Wilson to see what he can do now with these guys out there on the field. So I thought the Jets actually did a really good job. And don't be surprised if you hear Wilson to Wilson a lot in the coming years. Zach Wilson to Garrett Wilson. So I thought the Jets had themselves a really good draft. And I thought some other teams that did pretty well. I thought the Texans did a solid job. I think Stingley's upside is very good. So I thought getting him and also being able to pick up a Kenyon Green in the middle of the draft, I thought that was a very good move. Kenyon Green is one of the best young offensive linemen in this draft. Slot him in at guard, gives Davis Mills a better chance to see what he's got over there in Houston. I thought the Chargers did a great job being able to pick up Zion Johnson. So you're able to have Slater at left tackle, and then you have Johnson at left guard. You're just building yourself a major wall right there on that left side for Justin Herbert. So I thought they did a good job. I mentioned the Jets already. I thought the Eagles did pretty solid. As much as I can't stand the Eagles, got to give them props. I think Jordan Davis is a very good pickup for them and the defensive line. Kid's got a lot of potential and upside. And you pair him up with a guy that he could learn under, one of the best defensive tackles for years in Fletcher Cox. It's only going to help that kid grow a lot more. And then they also made one of the biggest trades where they were able to pick up A.J. Brown from the Tennessee Titans for only their 18th pick and a 3rd round pick. So I thought that was a very good move by the Eagles too. They get themselves a very good complement to Devontae Smith. It's going to be all about Jalen Hurts now if he could put it together. I mean, a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones here in New York. Jalen Hurts is his pressure just went up. His pressure just skyrocketed over there in Philadelphia. He's got to get it done now that he's got 2 alpha number 1 receivers right there in Philadelphia. So I thought they did a pretty good job too. New England, I was a little bit questioned about with the pick that they made, the offensive lineman they took out of Chattanooga. I'm a little bit confused about that one, but that's a Bill Belichick move. He always goes for these under-the-radar guys, and he's able to develop them in his system. And the Cowboys, I thought, panicked. I thought the Cowboys panicked a lot when they picked their offensive lineman, Tyler Smith, out of Tulsa. I was a little bit confused by that one. I think they panicked because they really want to get Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green when they both went off the board. I think they panicked a little bit and they just went after somebody they thought they had a lot of upside. So I was a little bit confused by that. Cowboys did not have a good draft. I thought the Washington Commanders, Dotson's a solid pickup. I'm a little bit confused. Maybe it's a little bit too early for him. I thought he's a solid pickup. The kid's very, very quick and fast. Still needs to develop a little bit more of his route running, but I thought Washington had a decent pickup. So, I mean, I thought the ultimate winners, at least in the first round on paper, I thought the Texans had a very good draft. I thought the Giants had a good draft. I thought the Eagles did solid. I think the Jets did a solid job. The Chargers did very well. And I think like teams like the Cowboys, the Jaguars, I'm still questioning that first pick. The Patriots, I just am a little bit wondering what they were thinking on that draft. I thought the Ravens did very solid too, getting Tyler Linderbaum. I thought that was a very good pickup for them. And just my thoughts on some prospects moving forward, going into the second round and third round. I mean, now that the Giants have filled their needs at right tackle and they got themselves their premier pass rusher, I think some positions of need that they should be looking for is still need to get themselves a complimentary safety over there with Xavier McKinney after losing Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers in free agency. So maybe looking at Jalen Petrie, a Brisker is out there. Maybe looking at a cornerback if you're still planning on letting go of Bradbury. You got Andrew Booth just sitting there. A linebacker like Nakobe Dean has fallen into the second round. If you decide to go to the wide receiver route in second or third round, you got Alec Pierce, you got Christian Watson, you got Sky Moore sitting there. Tight end, you got Ruckert, you got Dolchich, you got Otten, you got Woods, you got McBride, you got a lot of tight end prospects that they can look at possibly in the third round. You got Parham, who I think is a good offensive line prospect for the interior you could look at in the third round. Leo Chanel is another guy that you could look at for the linebacking position. A Tyndall. There's a lot of good. A Mumba, Chad Mumba, you can look at in the linebacker position. If you want to maybe double up at the pass rush position, you got an Amari Barno. You got Boye Mafe. You got the kid out of Penn State, Ezekiel. You got a lot of good prospects that the Giants could look at. And you know what? There's still that guy from Liberty that if the Giants might want to take their chance on a young quarterback, I am not advocating for it, but if they want to take a chance on that kid from Liberty, Malik Willis is sitting there in the second round, as well as most of these quarterbacks that did not get drafted on the first round. You still got Matt Corral, you still got Sam Howell, still got Desmond Ritter, you still got Malik Willis. These quarterbacks are sitting there if the Giants do want to maybe take a chance on these guys in the second round. I don't advise it. I don't want it. But it's at this point, in Joe Shane, we all trust. So that's just my quick review on the first round. The New York Football Giants drafted Kayvon Thibodeaux and Evan Neal. I'm sure everybody that's a Giants fan had a very nice sleep thinking about Kayvon Thibodeaux rushing off the edge for the New York Giants in Wink Martindale's system, and Evan Neal protecting the right side for Daniel Jones or whoever the quarterback is moving forward for the next 5 to 10 years. So I hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Let's go New York Football Giants. We'll wait to see who else joins this team tonight for rounds 2 and 3. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go Big Blue and take it easy. Let's go Giants!